Right, a couple days ago, we had a few gaps the last few days. A good chunk of the move in the market's been happening in the gaps. This one is going to take us right into the upper Bollinger Band and kind of trigger this overbought reading. So it's going to be, a gap up day is not a huge deal. Like if you're on the day one of a move, and say you're coming out of a pattern, this is what stocks do. If you're on a day one of a move and you have like a big gap in something, it's not a big deal. If you're on day 5 of the move and then you have a gap, it sucks out even more range, but it also triggers a stock or a market from just neutral to overbought, which can lead to like random kind of intraday just dumps where you kind of like dump out of nowhere. Not like a crash or anything like that, but like sharp pullbacks intraday because you're just so extended, right? And people got to take the profits and stuff. You're still seeing the same thing in SPY, right? You're on day 5. You're going to take this thing right into the upper Bollinger Band. You already had a 95 stochastics on the SPY, so you're already hitting that kind of overbought level, but you're hitting an extreme overbought level, at least in a 5-day time frame, which is what we tend to look at things because we're short-term traders. Ryan, what's up, baby? Johnny, how you doing? Damien, how you doing? So just be mindful. I think today's going to be a little bit of a tricky day. Not that many good gappers that I saw today. Play is one of them. This thing is breaking out over the 200 SMA. I wouldn't give this a B+. When you think about like stocks that have earnings or gaps, right? We like the ones that are breaking out to all-time highs or just breaking out of some level of resistance, new highs, some big consolidation. This one's breaking out over the 200 SMA, which is kind of like, all right. Like it's like when, you get a pair of socks for your birthday. It's okay, but it's not anything that hot. Hey, Giant, how you doing? So just be mindful. We'll only look at this one for an ORB if it holds over the 200. If it can do that, then I think that, we have a shot for a potential play in it. It has okay range on it because it's only got 36 million share float. So you don't got like a crazy high float on this thing where, you won't be able to get range on it. The key is, you can only take the intraday setup if the pattern holds on the daily. So if it does not hold, at 53 or above, then you can't take the pattern. So like say, for example, it fades off at the open and pulls back to the 9. The line might be at like, say, 9 EMA. Will be at like 52 or 52.50 or wherever it opens up. You wouldn't be able to take that pattern because you would be under the 200 SMA. So you wouldn't have time frame alignment. The key to day trading is aligning on multiple time frames, right? How can I make sure that every single time frame is aligned with the same goals, the same thoughts, and the same looks? And when you do that, that's when you can get that really, really big push in the in a particular stock. But without that, when they conflict, you're just crossing swords. Boom, 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 boom. And then this GME looks all right. You got a bear flag over here. They got news out that says basically blah, 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 that they're not making any money, which is bullshit because GameStop is like the awesomest store. It's like a video game galore. And you can buy used games and new games. You can trade in your games. Man, it's like going to a baseball card shop if they still had those, which those things were hot back in the day. So I will keep this on the list too. I think on the small cap ones, the best one that I found is this ZYNE. You can see the 650 mark, test 1, test 2, test 3, test 4, test 5. You got a nice push here. You also broke over the 200 SMA, so you've got kind of multiple levels. You're getting a little bit of a weak open, not much, but watch this one. If it goes red to green, so it's down about 10-15 cents. If it goes red to green here, I think that you'll have a shot at taking this thing. The key is, can it break and hold over 650, right? Can it break and hold over 650? If it can build over 650, then you have a chance. Look at the volume pop on it. So usually does about 1.5 million shares in volume. Yesterday it did 4.2, so that's a 3x relative volume, right? So typically, like when I'm running my scans, I like 1.5 to 2x in average daily volume. That's usually key, right? So it's not volume on a stock, but it's relative volume that's important. It doesn't matter if a stock does 1 million shares or 200 million shares. It's what's relative. If it does 200 million, then if it does 400 million the next day, that's good, right? That's high relative volume. So it's not an absolute number. It's always a relative. So we got 1.2 on average. We got 4.2 yesterday, so that's pretty good. We've got multiple tests of resistance. So I think something like that has a chance, especially I like how it's having a weak open. You know, right now, like it's down 10, 15 cents. If this thing goes red to green, bust over 650, and if it starts to hold and build there, now you got yourself a little pizza party. I know a lot of people have been asked about Roku and AMD. Look, we're on kind of day 5s of some of these moves. Roku's got room up to 74. We're getting a little bit of a gap on it, but I hate trading day 5s of a move in stock. But this one, because it wasn't too exaggerated and it's not overbought, I think we'll have room. But like AMD, first of all, see the bodies on these candles? So like see how small the bodies are on these things with the tails? So it's telling you that the intraday range on this thing is just dick, right? All the moves have been happening in gaps, and now it's gapping again. But it's going to take you right into resistance. Man, this is like this is a weird spot. Like I have very, very little luck trading a stock that's up 5 days in a row. If you guys go back through your statistics, through your trades, and see how, like anytime you took a trade where the stock was up 5 days in a row, you're on a day 5. I'm guessing you would see that, you know, it's always kind of a nothing burger in terms of probability, because you're kind of getting into like that sweet spot where you're not really extended. I mean, you're only up $4, give or take, but you're up a lot of days in a row. And if you look at AMD, you don't really have a history of moving up like big 5, 6, 7 days in a row. So for me, that's kind of like a leave alone. You know, not really my cup of tea here. I do like this CVNA. We had a nice flag breakout over here. You can see how tight the 9 EMA was on this thing too. You get right curls for the girls right up under it. You're getting a little bit of a weak open right now, about $1 something and change. Watch and see how it reacts around this old support around where the flag breakout was. That's 60. If it starts to hold there and rebounds, maybe you go red to green at some point. Then you may be able to take this. But usually in a red to green, I don't like a big gap down like $3-4, right? I usually like just like 10, 15, 20 cents. When I get like a light open, then it's much easier to hit the red to green on it. But as long as it holds over 60, I think it has a chance. We'll watch this thing and see if it goes red to green at the open. If it does, we may choose to hop on. As you guys have probably noticed, that the market's gapping up a lot right now. So it is imperative to at least be thinking about doing some swing trades too. The money in the market right now is on the swing side. Is if you're going to just gap up every day, then you might as well hold positions overnight, because that's what's going to pay you, right? If you look here, I'm watching the CDNA for a potential swing trade. You had after like a flat top breakout here with that beautiful run to 40, you've got a nice kind of pretty orderly pullback right down to, you know, your 50 SMA, but also down to where the flat top breakout was. So you got multiple levels of support. You also have your lower Bollinger Band over here, and then you're running it like a 10 stochastic, so you're going to be pretty oversold. Trading is about aligning pieces of evidence in your favor, right? Where can I find levels that converge into a spot, right? So if you get multiple levels and multiple areas holding and converging for you, then that's going to be nice. That's going to give you extra support and a little bit extra probability to take something that's normally maybe a 50-50 shot and lift it up a little bit. So, you know, be mindful of that. I'm watching blue for this triple tap breakout too. This would be a swing trade also. The volume on this is dick, right? But just looking at potential, you know, adding a few swings over here. Probably the, you know, main watches for today's play. Man, this lift is already starting to go. I think lift is going to catch a bounce in the next couple days. Man, I was up $800 on this thing yesterday. I gave it back because the thing just dumped out of nowhere. But we're getting into that sweet spot. If you can build over here, we maybe will take a day trade on this. Remember, this thing's a turd. You know, it's like already the market cap's $20 billion on who IPOs in the market's already at $20 billion, right? The best IPO stocks that we trade, where right? When they IPO, they're like at 500 million, 800 million, a billion, like stuff like that, right? But once you're already at 20 billion, like what's the upside, right? Like where can you go? They trade too thick, they have too much float, and so they're just not as fun. But I do think right now they'll probably turn the algos onto this thing at some point. Watch and see if it holds over 70 in this trend line. We may be able to get, you know, like a $1 or $2, $3 scalp out of this thing. But I would be surprised if we saw it like fill this gap. I mean, that would take something. So there's not anything that hot today, I would say. So I'd probably just take it easy. As I told you guys, right, those gap up days are super, super tricky. So in general, like, you know, you don't want to get, don't get too carried away with things, overcomplicate things. Take it easy. And then one thing I'll usually do on a day like this, I'll start running some scans, like probably about 15 minutes to 20 minutes into the market, and then see like if anything else pops up. Usually a lot of times, like on these like kind of slower days, what you'll have is like some random stocks just pop up out of nowhere, and then those end up being like the really hot ones that you know, you end up playing. Let me look. Baidu, this could be a swing. I mean, not anything particular for me at the moment, but probably something to watch this year because China has been rebounding, so that is probably something you want to take a look at. DCAR is a monster turd. It's probably due for a little bit of a dead cat bounce, but in general, this is a turd with fleas, right? It's most likely this thing's getting back down into the ones. The trend has been broken on it. Hey, Arul, how you doing? BMMJ. Yeah, this BMMJs are right. It doesn't have any volume on it, and it's up a lot of days in a row. So, like, you're at a breakout spot, but, you know, you're at a breakout spot after you've been already running a few days. Usually stocks like this, like, I'd prefer them to take a break, take a rest. It doesn't do much dollar volume either, so you're not necessarily, like, you're not trading anything that's got any pure heat on it. You know, most likely, unless this thing gets, like, pumped by, like, some chat room or something, you're not going to necessarily have, you know, you're not going to necessarily have anything except it just might grind higher. Cool. So take it easy, guys, today. You know, there might be some hot stuff to trade. There might not be, but we'll play things by ear, and we'll see what goes down, all right?